Hi, it's Antonio. So I want to talk about judgments. Judgments play a really important role in the practice of nonviolent communication, of needs based relating, like relating to one another through the concept of needs, right? Judgments are something that I continue having. 10 years into this practice, I sometimes have a laundry list of judgments that show up for me, and they don't stop. And it's really important to understand the relationship between judgments to needs. You know, one of the things that I think sometimes might, uh, maybe it's misunderstood, or maybe there's just a different understanding that people have about this, but uh, nonviolent communication is not about eliminating judgments. We're not trying to stop judgments because that faucet is open. And why was the faucet there to begin with? Well, I judgments and judgment thinking is something that it's still our culture is still teaching us. It's still something that we abide by. That there are right people, that there are wrong people, that there are right things and wrong things to do. There's things that are you should or you shouldn't do. Um, Sometimes a judgment is somebody's stupid, somebody's an idiot, um, somebody's ignorant, right? So and so is so stupid and so ignorant. This person is so bratty. So those are just some of the examples of what uh, judgments might sound like. Internally, right? Like for us, like when I have a judgment, I might be calling myself lazy. Or externally, when I'm thinking that of somebody else, right? I think this person's lazy. Now, we might also hear judgments from other people. So I think the first thing to really get under our belts is that NVC is not about stopping judgments. In fact, what we want to do is start breaking them down because they are trying to tell us something about us. Anytime that I have a judgment, it's because I have some needs that are very important for me in that situation. So now, what am I going to do with that? Like, how do I address those needs? Well, there is another video for that. You might want to look at the video that I made about requests about that. And there's, I think, other content on my channel regarding like how do we start addressing our needs. But the first thing that I want to do is become aware of my judgments. I know that I have judgments. I can feel it in my body. I know when I am experiencing judgment energy. That's something that we become very well versed in. Being able to start connecting to our bodies. Our bodies are going to let us know when we have judgment energy happening for us, when judgment energy is present. So sometimes I might also have judgment thoughts, of course, and that's also going to show up for me. But whenever I have judgment, whether that's thoughts or words that I'm thinking, or it's just an energy that's happening in my body, well, I want to start processing that. You know, I don't, as the saying goes, I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater because there's good stuff in the bathwater, right? So what I want to do here instead, so here we are working on some skills and building our skills here. So the first thing that I might want to do is become aware of my judgments. And then the second thing that I want to do is start being able to translate my judgments so that I can start understanding what needs are going on behind my judgments. So, for example, if I'm thinking that somebody's lazy, let's go with that one. Maybe that's because I have needs, such as support. I also really like movement. I like order. I also really, really want mutuality. For us to be mutually caring about one another, maybe. Right? So those are some examples. So that now, instead of going up to somebody and saying, "Hey, I want to talk to you about how lazy you are," which might not go over too well, what I might have an opportunity to do now is say, "Hey, I would love to talk about how maybe we can create some more order and mutuality and support. I mean, are you open to talking about that?" So that is a very different conversation. Now, maybe you're asking, well, what happens if that person, if we get into an argument, what happens if that person says, "Well, I'm not being, messy. I'm not being not supportive." So let's save that for another conversation, and there will be another video on that, right? Because that's going to maybe be the start of a dialogue. That might be the start of empathizing with somebody and with ourselves. But the first thing, and this is what this video is, trying to address, is what do we do with judgment energy? First, let's become aware of it. So that might be, and then in terms of like, what do we do now? Maybe you have a journal, and maybe what you do in that journal is that you write down your judgments. Maybe you have judgments about yourself. Maybe you have judgments about somebody else. And so that's the first thing we want to do. We want to welcome our judgments because that's what's going to help us to start doing the process of being able to translate them to our needs. So let's open the door to judgments, not to share them with other people. I don't want to share my judgments, especially with the people who I have them of, right? But I want to open the door so that I can start getting the information of what needs are going on behind that judgment. So the second thing I want to do is really take some time. So first thing, become aware of my judgments, write them out. The second thing, translate those to needs. I really want to take the time to slow down, right? To really take some time to be with that experience. I might have more judgments, which means that I have more needs. And that's what I really love about this practice, is that this is a life practice, as I like to say. You know, maybe I learn about a part of me that's really important right now. I learn about that because I learn about what judgments are going on for me. And then I realize, oh, I have more judgments, which means I have more needs. So I get to really learn about myself here. And so let's start taking the time to become aware, to write down our judgments, and to translate our judgments to needs. And that's going to be the practice that I'm going to continue doing probably right until my last breath, because that's really a big part of what we do in NVC, doing a lot of translating work and a lot of connecting work, connecting to our needs. So I hope that this was helpful. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you around. Thank you.